So we need to talk about the new Mario Kart World update, because this update has had people be more hopeful for the game and are pretty happy with this update. Now, I want to talk about the item part first, because that one will be quicker. The item part, in my opinion, that should have just been there in the base game. I don't really know why this needed to come now. I don't know if this was a case of, we're going to save this as a free update to keep people playing the game. But if that's the case, I don't really think that does that. I think this should have just been a feature in the base game. But regardless of that, we have changes to the intermission tracks, specifically the ones that involve Koopa Troopa Beach. I want to talk about this because this is really interesting that they decided to change these, because my biggest complaint with Mario Kart World is the intermission tracks. That is what keeps me from playing the game. Free roam was the mode that I was pretty much most excited for, but it ended up being not what I was hoping for. But at the end of the day, the versus races online is probably where you're going to spend most of your time. The intermission tracks, unfortunately, have gotten me to not play that mode at all. I don't really play Mario Kart World at all anymore. And it really is because of the intermission tracks. Even if you were to take the intermission tracks out of the game, I still don't think Mario Kart World would be like my all-time favorite game. But it would definitely be one that I would throw on every now and then, because it's the new console and it's a new Mario Kart game. Usually that's the game that you play for a long time. So I'd probably go on, do a few races, and then that would be it. And I would do that every now and then. But with the intermission tracks there, it just sucks me out of the game. I just don't enjoy doing the intermission tracks. They feel lackluster. And sometimes the intermission tracks, you can legitimately just hold the gas and just not even move for like quite a while. I was pleasantly surprised with some of the changes that happened to the intermission tracks that involve Koopa Troopa Beach. One of them in particular I want to talk about is the one that goes from Koopa Troopa Beach to Peach's Castle. I actually was enjoying myself. Like, I noticed I did it once and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that one again. I did it again and I was like, this isn't bad. Like, this isn't bad. And that's where this is crazy, because did Nintendo only realize that the intermission tracks are kind of lackluster from fan feedback? Or have they known this? Because it is really weird that they changed this now. And what really sucks is this shows the potential of what Mario Kart World could have been. If they had done this to all the intermissions and made them have more to them, yeah, maybe I'd still prefer to not do intermission tracks in general, but I don't know if I would have just dropped the game. I genuinely noticed on specifically Koopa Troopa Beach to Peach's Castle that I was enjoying myself. And it actually made me think twice about my opinion on intermission tracks, where maybe if they were all, well, that is something I have said, if they were all more robust, I'd probably enjoy them more. But it made me think about, I don't know, if they were all robust, would I necessarily need to be able to turn them off to enjoy online play? Maybe I still would prefer to turn them off. I don't know. Still think the option should be there regardless. I don't know why we can't choose to just have them not on when we play online against randoms. But I think there is a world that if they had just made these intermission tracks more robust, I'd still be playing online, regardless of there being an option or not. But that's where I end up leading towards the conversation that I feel like people are tired of hearing is, this is the premium price game. And I know people get annoyed that I talk about that, because you can get Mario Kart World bundled with the Switch 2, and then Mario Kart World costs $50 in that bundle. I wasn't able to get that bundle. I was someone that spent $80. And eventually that bundle is not going to be there anyway, and this game is $80. So for them to price this game at $80, and they have an update like this, where, in my opinion, if this is the premium price game, this is the game they deem should be a premium price. How are all the intermission tracks not like what they just did with this update? You could say that it's too ambitious because there's too many intermission tracks, but in my opinion, if it was too ambitious, then why did they do this in the first place? I don't see how what they did was a better alternative. I think at that rate, they should have just got rid of intermission tracks. There are some people that enjoy the game the way it is, and kudos to them. But for me, when I do the intermission tracks and it feels like I'm pretty much just doing nothing until I get to the actual racetrack, I would just rather be able to turn them off. And seeing that there was potential to these intermission tracks from what they did with this update, it just has me thinking, why wasn't this what they did in the first place? And I find it hard to believe that they didn't realize that these intermission tracks were kind of lackluster before the game came out. And that's why I'm just confused that this was the premium price game. I mean, maybe they just did price it that because just straight up it's Mario Kart and they knew Mario Kart would sell. But still, this is the game that is the $80 price tag. And even if you remove that from the equation, I just don't see how this is the launch title of the new console. Like, if you're just looking at the intermission tracks, it just doesn't really make sense that this is what they came up with. This is the gimmick of the new game. Mario Kart World's gimmick is the intermission track stuff, and they didn't go all out with it. And again, you could say it's just too ambitious because there's so many of them, but then maybe the scale should have been smaller. And maybe the roads should have been smaller in general. Like, if the roads were smaller and just had more stuff in them, I think that could be a workaround too. I think one of the biggest issues is that it feels like you're on a pretty long drive, and some of the times that long drive, you're barely doing anything. And then you finally get to the track. And still, one of the craziest parts is if you disagree with me about the intermission track stuff in general, there should still just be an option for online play. Like, I know you can if you play with just friends, but playing against random people, the option should be there. Especially since Knockout Tour exists. Knockout Tour existing where you have to do the intermission tracks, I don't get why they also force you in the versus races mode online. That makes no sense to me. But seeing what this update did and seeing the potential that's there, it's just a shame because we still have all those other intermission tracks. Are they going to update all of them? I don't know. And if they end up doing it in slow increments, am I really going to care? It would have to be probably a year or so from now for me to want to jump in if they keep incrementally changing the intermission tracks. But them doing this update though, I really do wonder, did they realize that these intermission tracks are lackluster from the fan feedback, or did they know before they released it and they were like, well, hopefully people don't mind, or was the game not even finished? If the game wasn't even finished, that's kind of crazy. And I do question that item selection thing. Was that really just not ready? Was it something they thought would get people to jump back on the game, so they waited to release it? I think that should have just been in the base game. But I feel like if they do end up changing more intermission tracks, I feel like this is just going to be another case of Nintendo's slow drip feed content thing, where it just takes forever for them to get to the final product. Getting free updates is nice, but when it feels like drip feed content, or it just feels like they're taking too long to get to the final product, it just ends up getting annoying. And again, the craziest part with all of this is it could be alleviated with a freaking option of, do you want to search with intermission tracks or do you want to not search with intermission tracks? That would alleviate this whole thing, because there's some people that don't even mind intermission tracks as they are right now. So why don't they just give us an option? That is one of the most mind-blowing things. I still cannot believe that there was a workaround to it and then they changed it. And then they kept tweaking it and like they made it a little bit better from the initial change that they did, but you still get them so often that I don't play the game. And some people might think that that's extreme, but when you genuinely don't enjoy a whole section of the game and you are sometimes just forced to do it because it's random, you could get 3 races in a row with intermission tracks. You get 3 races in a row without intermission tracks. It's a gamble, and it's a gamble I have no interest in doing, because even if I get them spaced out, like race 1's regular, race 2's not, race 3's regular, race 4's not, those races with the intermission tracks, I'm not enjoying. So how they couldn't have just made an option, I don't know. But to see this update and see them change it, it's very strange because it's hopeful, like it has me hopeful, but at the same time, it's like, they really couldn't have just had this at launch. Like, if this is the big launch title and it's $80, you would think it would be super robust. But the games that have been coming out after it feel like they have more polish. Kirby Air Riders looks like it has more polish. Donkey Kong Bonanza feels like it has more polish. What happened with Mario Kart World? It's more confusing than anything, honestly. Like, did they really sit there and honestly just go, shoot, we were in over our heads. We're just gonna release it. I mean, it's Mario Kart. We can still charge it at 80, all well. Did they really think that? Or do they think that this product is worthy of the $80 title and they think that it's fine? I would say that this update says otherwise. I feel like them changing the intermission tracks to any extent shows that they know that it is lackluster. Like, sometimes you genuinely are just kind of driving. You're not really doing anything. The roads are so open. There's 24 players, so I feel like they have to be open. And I feel like that's where they shot themselves in the foot. There's 24 players, so the road has to be open. But then the open roads, they didn't put any obstacles really for there to be anything to do. Some of them have some obstacles, but overall, you're just kind of driving. And it's like you're just looking at your watch until you get to the racetrack. So again, an option would alleviate this. I still wouldn't say that this should be an $80 game, but at least I'd still be playing it. So this update's a step in the right direction, but I feel like it's going to take 200 steps to even get to the destination. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on if they keep updating the intermission tracks or just keep updating the game. And who knows? Maybe someday Nintendo just won't be stubborn about this and they'll give us a freaking option to search online without intermission tracks. That would be amazing. I have this weird feeling that they're not going to budge on it, so we'll just have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you're still playing Mario Kart World, or if you're like me and you just pretty much stopped. Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this discussion, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to stay up to date with my videos, don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.